Alright, welcome back, welcome back. Here we are, back in the garage times with the fans and the cars and the vroom vroom box. So last time, we got the Audi put together. The 2 episodes ago, we got the engine put in all together. Last episode, we got the gearbox and all the suspension put back together. And the interior put in. We just have to now put the body panels on it. We've got the Lincoln here, who's got the engine and the running gear and braking issues. We also have the Golf, who needs a body replacement and something with the exhaust. And then we've got the unknown variant in the Seyron. So we're gonna start off by trying to get this back together. The air filter turned out to be nothing. 45, anything with 45 and above needs to go back in here. I'm gonna not install that one. 'Cause it said 45, but there's a couple of these that I don't... Well, hold on. So that 45 can go into literally any other one of these push, or the 44 can go into any one of the other push rod environmentos. And I'm gonna unselect those. And that's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. I didn't plan for doing push rods on a 6-cylinder, so I don't have the push rods for it, but that's fine. We're gonna be missing a couple once we get to the end for the 12 valves, the intake and exhaust. I gotta buy a cam gear for it anyway. I think just about everything else on this engine is fine. So now we gotta put this top end back together with all the valves and stuff and things. But these should be fine for the most part. I'm not fully aware which ones are which. I should have held off on putting a couple of those 75s on there, but I think I should be fine. This should go back together pretty easily with all the parts that I've got. I do like how easy but technical this game is. It's nowhere near as hard losing parts and stuff, because obviously real engines have a bunch of like tiny components, such as even just the springs here that these rockers are attached to, that are all individual pieces in real life, and you gotta not lose them along, like, without actually stuff sticking and having to either cut it out, force it out, do all the little tricks and stuff to get bolts out. It's just nice and easy. I'm a big fan that this game is at least kind of in depth, with the ease of just existing. The belts were fine if I remember correctly. They sure were. Oh, I've got 2 of these. Okay. I didn't know that. I don't know where the other one came from. We should have that engine done, and it's gonna be a lot of just putting new suspension bits on it. It's already up in the air. As much as those brakes look like crap, I don't think that we're actually going to be replacing this. Also, I don't know what they were doing with putting the like double wishbone on the front. A lot of this is coming apart, pretty much this whole corner of the car. gonna be coming apart. Those rubber bushings were trashed. We're gonna pull this out. A couple more of these rubber bushings look trashed. How's that wheel bearing? The wheel bearing's fine in there. And just pull a couple more of these little guys out of here. I know I got that sway bar. The rest of that front end looks great. I don't actually know if there's anything here on the rear, but I kind of assume there is. I'm just gonna check. The solid axle looks nice. I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. I'm just gonna pull off the outer shell of the brake drum. Yeah, it looks fine. Are one of these knuckles bad by any chance? No, neither of the rear knuckles are bad. I don't know what I'm looking for. Did I find it? I didn't, but I don't know what I'm looking for at the same time. It looks like it could. No. I was gonna say it could be that steering rack. I suppose the only way to know is by taking it off the car, because you can't actually examine the steering rack. I'm popping it up to put the wheel hub back on it anyway, so I might as well give that a shot. Accessible from engine bay. Okay. If you say so. Oh, yeah, okay. Accessible underneath the car. I don't really know what else is the issue here. These knuckles and the cover looks fine. Actually, I think I may have solved the solution, which is I think the front hub on this side, not the whole knuckle, but I think the hub is, this hub is broken. I think that was a little I Spy moment, and it sure was. Was that my part? That sure was. Alright. We can put a brand new hub on that. Actually, do we have a used one that'll fit on there nicely and satisfy their 45%? We don't. I should have just kept the new one on. That's alright, that's alright. It looks like we're gonna have to be buying more rubber bushings. But for the most part, that looks completely alright. New upper arm. We could put those two in. Put that brake disc back on, whatever one was on there. Looks like garbage, but it still works apparently for them. So I'm not gonna take it away if it's what works for them. I'd be replacing it myself, but not my car, so I don't make the decision to replace a part. So this tire's gonna go back on. Were they different sizes? Nope. All are exactly the same. So we got the one tire back on. This other front tire should be going back on here shortly. Put that end link back on, or I don't want to put that end link back on because I'm gonna be swapping that whole front sway bar. That's the plan, at least. So that front end is done, and I shouldn't actually need to have any of the tires off for the rest of the work for this car. I'm going to be pulling the bottom end of that leaf spring off. Made the mistake on the star pattern, so we did what we could to salvage it. Yeah, it just looks like mostly the U-bolt stuff and a lot of that attention on the front corners there. Because I don't know what's left, really. Now we're going to bring Lincoln up, because about the only stuff we can do is there. I'm going to go on here and buy the parts for the R8 here. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll be back with you. So I was in the body shop here, and I got all the parts to replace on the Golf, and I got all the parts for the Audi. I'm going to start off by putting this on, and I did notice while I was doing it that the headlight was broken as well, so I just popped that off real quick. Got the trunk window. I'm going to go back to normal mode to actually pull out the actual tail lights. I don't think I'm going to get actually paid for this, but I did get new of these because I didn't know which ones were broken, if it was the trunk tail lights or the regular. I see now that it's the one, but we're doing that. I'm going to put the Swiss license plate back on, and I think that should be all the body parts. Oh, the right window. So now, before this Audi goes back, we're going to send it to the test path real quick. Wow, not the Audi, that's the Volkswagen, but same idea. They're owned by the Volkswagen Group. But then, I can't figure out what the front left fender is my dealio. I was looking, and I don't know what it is on this car, because the actual front left and front right fenders are attached to the hood. But if you check the value, there is the front left fender that is missing, or that not missing, it's still on the car, but it's not on the car. And I was looking through the shop and I couldn't tell where it was. So I'm just kind of doing a once little gloss over of the car. That's the rear left fender there. The rear right fender. And aha! That is a fender, I guess. I was gonna say I bought it, but I didn't know what it was. We're going wide body on this, by the way. I hope this fits. It sure does. I'm going for a, not quite a cyberpunk look. I bought both of them because I didn't know which one I'd want. But I'm just trying to get a little look-see for... So that's the big one. That's the regular. Yeah, you want the B for the wide body. Otherwise, that just kind of looks silly. There's that. I got the wide body for the rear. I forgot to buy a rear bumper, apparently. But that'll be okay. We got the rear clamshell. I got the big one and the little one. I wanted to see the, not necessarily the difference, but I wanted to see the aesthetic. Because I think I'm not a huge fan of big wings like that. So I wanted to see that. Yeah, I like the little accent there. Left body window A. The front door. Actually, I want to take that off so I can install the steering wheel, aka the front clamshell. That's looking good. Put the window in. Put the wide body fender back on. We decided we want the B. I forgot to buy the mirror. Get those headlights in. While I'm a fan of the new R8, I really like this as well. I'm just trying to figure out which parts I missed, which looks to be the left mirror. I know I got the, or I'm pretty sure I got the engine cover here. Oh, I didn't want to go into the engine, I just wanted to go to assemble. I sure did. It replaces the Audi V10 cover on top of the Porsche. But I'm a fan. Does look a touch ridiculous not being colored, and I probably should redo these rims to get a bit of a outer work. So give me 1 minute. Alright, so we're back. We did a little bit of testing and adjusting. I've lost some money on buying and selling new tires, but the Audi the fitment should look a lot nicer now. I ended up going up 2 inches on the rim, so I went from 19 to 21 inch. And I went down on the tire profile. I was using 35s, I'm using 25s now, due to the increase in rim size. So that the overall diameter of the tire should have stayed roughly the same. And then I also did the front 2 tires, got an offset of 45, and the rear 2 tires got an offset of 55. The tire widths are still the same, 245 on the front and 285 on the rear. That's that for the most part. This Audi should be roughly together. It's worth about 150,000. I gotta put in some of the stuff on the front end here still, like the shock absorbers, the double wishbones. Once I put that in, I want to see how much this thing is worth, because I'm contemplating selling it, but at the same time I really like this car. That brings it up to 150,000. That brings it north of that. I will have to paint it, and I will have to fix the frame once I get the opportunity. Audi's gonna go back to parking. We've got our little level up to do. We did hit 25, so I'm gonna do this upgrade success one. I'm gonna assume that this thing doesn't start. No, nothing happened. I turned the key, it didn't crank, it didn't... Okay. We're gonna have to run some tests on that little guy. I did put the Volkswagen's body kit back on. We put it back together. However, it hasn't been up on the lifter or anything yet, so we gotta test it. So now we're gonna run it on the path test, and we're gonna take this little guy out for a ride. Put it up on the... We're gonna put it up on the little jack there, and we're gonna start working on that after we do our test drive. We're gonna hit the garage, so rubber bushings. We're gonna hop in here real quick. This is the easiest way without having to walk all the way out there. I've got a bunch of barn finds that we can go explore at some point here, and I'm very excited to do that. I'm gonna need a little bit more money because I'm gonna have to finish up these couple of orders to bring back my money, and I can't wait to get to 30 so I can frame weld a couple of my cars, get them in better shape. But some of them might just have to go because I need the money, and I can't wait to get the paint shop as well to start paint matching parts. When you crash the customer's car, This thing feels like it's all-wheel, but I don't know. I don't remember if the Golf R is. Took that like a champ, even better than the Lincoln. It didn't flip over like the Alpine. I braked too early there too. Alright, we just got back to the garage. We see a little bit more of the damage that's going on. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna just take a little look-see under the hood of the Volkswagen. It's gonna be the next car that goes up on the lift. I just want to see if the steering rack's broken. Because I have a feeling with both tie rods being broken as it is, the steering rack is probably destroyed. No, it looks like it's in fine condition, so that's alright. Let's go pop into my garage. I've got a couple of nice little things. You can see the list there. Alright, and we're here in the garage. I've got, just to see what I've got now, because I've got 10 cars. I've got my Ford Falcon. I've got an Integra, Volvo 850R. I've got a wide body 328i. I've got what remains of a Chevy C10. I've got a 911, the 964 I was talking about. I've got a Chevelle, and I've got a Willys, along with a Ferrari F50, which was actually my first car. It's last in the order now because I had brought it back to the garage so that I could try and run the track, because there's an achievement for running the track, not the test track that I was just at in the Volkswagen, but there's a racetrack on here, and it's an achievement if you can run it in under a minute. I ran it in a 1 minute 13 in the Volkswagen, or the Volvo, and I made it look like a sleeper. I got the subtle same seats that are in the Audi, but matched the interior. And then I've got my Acura here. This is, besides the Audi, it is actually the second most valuable car, running at 70,000. I think it's just because of the, oh no, not even because of the mileage. It's got 120,000 miles. The Audi's only got 10,000 for being one of the worst frames. And the Ferrari has 156,000 for being one of the best frames. Then, and another thing I'm excited about is it tells me the factory engine power, which is here. So this car was pushing 703 horsepower. I've got a brand new, completely redone, performance-tuned, supercharged V8 in the back of that. Like I've got the upgraded engine in the Audi, same with the Ford Falcon down there, same with the Acura. I don't believe the Volvo has an upgraded engine, but it definitely is new. It's got a couple, oh, it definitely does, because that's the intake manifold and exhaust, opposite. I said that opposite, and the wires. But this thing would run it in about a 1 minute 14, and I could get about a 1 minute 6 in the Acura. I was considering trying to run it in the Falcon, but I needed to get on that first. And my Chevelle and the Willys are going to be two of the cars that do go to, or that get sold, but I want to enhance their frames, which will cost me about 200 bucks, and that will massively increase the price in what they do. So I've got these two cars for sale. I'm keeping the Ferrari, the Audi, and these first three here. I'm going to keep the Beamer and probably sell these other two, because that Porsche should be cheap and it should rack me a good amount of money to keep working on this. But, and speaking of that, that means the Porsche is the next one to go to the shop. It's got a terrible frame condition, just as the other ones. I didn't catch how many miles were on it there. It's got 179,000. Obviously, cars are more valuable the less miles they have on them, especially if you can restore them, as I just did with the Audi. So, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. This has been my garage on Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. We're going to be back with another episode sometime soon. So, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment on which one of these cars is your favorite, which one that you think will beat that 1 minute lap time. Because I'm thinking it's going to be the Chevelle or the Falcon. But thank you very much. Peace.